Recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you're listening to the Roundtable Podcast. This is podcast number 728. My name is Eric Nelson, and with me today, I have my regular co-host, Bob Plankers. Today's Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. Bob, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm fighting ants at home. It is ant season here in Wisconsin, and yeah, everything's got ants. I hate ants, but other than that, looking forward to next week. There's a lot of stuff. We are all busy ants around here, scurrying around in anticipation of something, some unnamed thing that, But yeah, we'll talk about that more.
Oh, I think I'm just gonna break protocol and go like, there is a VCF 9 thing coming down the pike, and if you haven't figured out how to register for the VMUG live stream that's happening on the 24th, you probably want to register for that so that you can hear what we're going to talk all about. It's exciting. Lots of work going on. So on the show today, we're going to talk to Lee Wang. I think that's how we say her name. Product marketing lead at VMware ANS division, application network and security. We're going to be talking about vDefender and AVI networks, part of VMUG Advantage. That's going to be launching this weekend. Cool. So nice. We're excited about that, right? So we'll talk to Lee just about, vDefender, AVI, what is it? What's it about? What's happening with it?
Are you going to skip the intro and go straight to the products?
No, we're just giving everybody.
We're working our way there. It's a process.
Yeah.
Hang tight. We'll get to you. But before we do that, before we get to you, we're going to do a little bit of the news, what's actually happening. And the first thing I'd say, Bob, is that, Explore is happening. Early bird special is still live. I think you have until, I heard this morning, till the 16th to get early bird registration. You get a few $100 off the ticket price, full reg, as well as if you can use your VMUG Advantage, you get another $100 off. So, and the prices are lower this year, if I remember right. I think that's the start at $1,900 or something. So it's a little bit lower, and early bird special is going to close 16th, because then I think the 17th or 18th, don't quote me on that date, the content calendar goes live, right? So yeah, things are ramping up.
Right. We've been working on that quite a bit, trying to figure out what sessions are where and all that stuff. And like we talked about last week, if you haven't been accepted but you haven't been rejected, just wait. It's still getting sorted out. So
yeah, that's right. There's still plenty of sorting to be done, right? Reminds me of a kids theater production, if you've ever had kids, and you're watching the dress rehearsal the day before and you're like, this is never going to come together. But You know what, the show date happens, the dates happen,
somehow it does.
Somehow it all cleans up and gets level. So excited. So neat stuff there. So sign up for the 24th VMUG to be part of that. That's a 2-day event, hands-on lab, second day, first day, a bunch of announcements. That's what I would say, and lots of great content. Excited about that. We also announced the hackathon, Bob. So you can go register for the hackathon. You can go to blogs.vmware.com/code. There is a hackathon blog article out there. It's making social rounds on Twitter. William Lamb retweeted it yesterday. So we're running a hackathon. It's going to be fun. Going to give away Raspberry Pis prizes. So should be fun. We're going to run PowerShell. I'm doing a project on PowerShell running on Raspberry Pis. So should be fun there. And I know that a bunch of other people. I'm not allowed to announce the teams yet until we take all the team captains through compliance, because team captains have to be compliant before we can.
You must comply.
Yes. You must comply the Broadcom way. So excited about that. A lot of buzz going around the hackathon. This year it's going to be pizza. We got decent pizza this time. Last year we had weird food. This year going to be pizza, and we got it till midnight. So again, better event team this year. Like, it seems like the event team has been much more.
Well, we're dialing it in. We're figuring it out. So I'm excited about the Power CLI, the PowerShell on Raspberry Pis. People forget that PowerShell runs on Linux now, and that's a really interesting platform to do a lot of automation and things. So
yeah, you can go to ChatGPT and ask them, kind of, how do I get PowerShell on, and it just gives you a nice little.
Well, or you can ask it how to do PowerShell stuff too, and Power CLI. You know, like it's the coworker you can't annoy by asking it questions constantly. You know, so if you want that whole vibe coding thing, like, you know, use it.
The cool thing also is I'm working with the PowerShell team and the API team this year. Got the engineering team engaged with us, and they're going to be participating, helping us with some of the stuff. They're going to come on the show, Bob. We got them confirmed
very cool.
Come on the show to talk about VCF next version. I think it's 9. We'll talk about that and
I've heard about 9.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I heard about it as well. It's the 9 from Lord of the Rings, right? Didn't they cross the river or something or other? And
something.
Anyway,
something like that.
I digress.
Yeah.
So,
no, that'll be cool. We've done a lot of API and SDK work in 8 and 9. There's a lot of open API work going on, and there's not a lot of publicity about that, but it's really important. So, no, that'll be really cool.
And then the last thing is the code labs are coming together. We're gonna have Raspberry Pi 5s, and then we're gonna have VCF 9 NUCs running at the end of each table, so that then you can do Raspberry Pi. We're gonna have some sensors there, then do some PowerShell, and you do some visualization. Should be good. Should be fun labs. We're gonna be in hands-on labs area this year, so stay tuned for that. That's coming. And last thing I'll say about it, why I'm kind of jazzed, is I've been working with William Lamb. We've got the NUC being delivered tomorrow. The NUC that's going to run 9, and this NUC is is like around $900. So the under $1,000 NUC that's going to run 9, we'll see. But it's coming tomorrow, and I'm going to get it and drive it over to William's office and give it to him, and he's going to spend some time this weekend seeing if it actually will do what we think it's going to do.
Well,
so cool stuff, right? So happy about that. What else is there to cover? I don't believe I got nothing else in my brain.
A little bit of the calm before the storm here, and so there was a vExpert briefing this morning, and about stuff, and so that was good to see. I think there were nearly 180 people on it, and I got prompted to talk a little bit, and it was good to see everyone, and glad that we also remember who we are. But
I heard from a couple of people that the vExperts were pretty tough.
It's a great crowd. Any questions they ask they're a good proxy for customers in general. The questions that we're going to get, and anything we didn't have a good answer for, I've got homework. The product managers have got homework. All kinds of folks have got homework there. But no, they're fair.
That's it.
So no, it was good. It was good. So if you're a vExpert, and not to Corey's not with us this week, but if you're a vExpert, keep your eye on announcements. There's going to be more briefings like that. I believe that one was recorded as well, so if you missed it, there might be an opportunity to review it. And nice. And then anything that's embargoed, keep it embargoed until the time and date. So please.
Nice. All right, with that, let's get on with our guest. She's been patiently waiting here, and appreciate that. So Lee Yang, let's talk a little bit of this community podcast. So we start with our guest and I know this is your first time on the show, so we'll just ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself. You work at VMware. What do you do, and what does your career look like? How have you been at other companies? Give us a little bit of your career arc. What have you done, or how did you get here?
Oh. So my name is Lei, and I'm kind of so it's like the Hawaiian flower. So I don't come from Hawaii. I spent a little time in Singapore, actually. So you might detect some of that accent. So I was in Broadcom. Let me see. How do I get here? It was from an acquisition. So I currently lead the product marketing for VMware Mobby Load Balancer. And gosh, I can't believe how many years ago it was Avi Networks. So VMware acquired Avi Networks, then recently Broadcom acquired VMware. So that's how I kind of landed where I am right now. Before that, I have worked in several startups in different areas.
Well,
I was going to tell her maybe she needs to turn off her camera because I think she's just on the
bandwidth is, oddly enough, Silicon Valley bandwidth is sometimes a problem.
Yeah, we have a ticket out to IT to enable some of the firewall ports. So there's StreamYard runs on bidirectional port connections. And so we have a ticket to IT. We did testing last Friday to see if we could get there.
Yep, she's coming back in.
Sorry.
Hey, no problem.
I think what you could do is just turn off your video and see if we can use your bandwidth for audio, because almost everybody listens to the. Anyway.
I think the bandwidth is probably fine, but I'll turn it off. It's not too weird. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if for some reason I just kicked off, but I was able to.
It's a little better, yeah.
Is that better? Okay. All right. Great.
Yeah. So you were saying you're like a flower, and you're named like the flower wreath or whatever. Something about Hawaii is the last thing I caught. So.
Yeah, it's a very welcoming thing. So, okay, I'll repeat. So, did you guys catch the part that it came through acquisition?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, you came in through the Avi Networks acquisition.
Yeah, Avi Networks acquisition. So prior to that, worked on several startups in different parts of the data centers. I started out my career in Cisco networking. I was actually an engineer, so I kind of,
Oh, very cool.
Just want to make sure you guys can still hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. I turned off my camera.
Yeah, we turned off our video to try to save bandwidth.
Give you all the bandwidth you can get, right? Yep.
Cool.
Okay, so how long? So, other companies before you ended up at VMware? Anything interesting?
I think
we're just
clearly. So.
It's a little bit of a searching. I mean, to be honest, like I didn't know that I would be in the space for this long, but I think what really kept me here was it's the same platform. You used to have hardware data centers, and now they have software defined. And then with AI coming, you have AI defined intelligence. But one beauty of the product that I work on is the platform, which literally, lends itself to all these different eras that you have to go through. So I don't find myself having the need like, oh, I better pick up something else. Oh, it's already in the product, and it has a beautiful scale architecture. I think that's one thing that actually amazed me. And from our customer point of view, like you just keep on playing and adding more capacity and to re-architecture or different products for the different environments and what to come in the future, right? So
yeah, like there's always change going on. And your mention of AI, AI is changing everything. I did have a question. I want to back up a little bit. How does an engineer end up in a product marketing area?
So, well, I love solving problems, but then you get to a point where like, okay, what else do you want to do, right? And product marketing really lands in kind of the way how I learn. First of all, I want to learn new things, so I know, like in my graduate program, I already says I don't want to do PhD. I don't want to dig so deep, and I know everything about nothing. That's not me. One thing I find out, like I like deep dive on technology. I want to connect things. So that role can allow me to get a taste of the products, talking with the SMEs, enjoy the demos. But then, it allows me to jump on different areas, different domains. Like what I mentioned, I've worked on different components from storage, networking, load balancing, security, cloud, different parts of the infrastructure. So that allows me to connect things together, right? And then that's really the world that we're going towards, that you especially you mentioned AI, I've heard somewhere where say that's the era of generalist a little bit, right? We get to have knowledge, different aspects, connecting them together. So back to your questions, I feel like to me, product marketing is the perfect balance between depth and breadth, and allow me to not get bored and allow me to connect the different areas of knowledge together and kind of a fabric of story.
Nice. Yeah, that resonates a lot with me. I'm an engineer that's in a product marketing group as well over in VCF, and so no, that's really cool. And you're absolutely right about being generalists, and being able to tell the story of things rather than just get pigeonholed in one area. And people like doing that, doing one thing, but there's those of us that don't. And so no, that's super cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, totally. I truly believe that you can, at the end of the day, people remember kind of story. That's just how human brains are wired. You can go and pitch whatever you want to pitch. At the end of the day, people remember an analogy, remember a joke, remember something that they can't visualize, and which resonates with them, right? That's at the end of the day what we want to do.
So let's transition to vDefender and Avi. Like, why don't you just give us a little bit of you talked to SDDC and you talked about how the rules were going from firewall into SDDC software. And I'm assuming that vDefender and Avi networks, I know kind of vDefender a little bit. I'm not that familiar with Avi. So maybe you should just give us a high level, what are both of them? Because we're going to talk about how, with the VCP certification now, we can get at both of these. So maybe we just talk a little about what both of these are, vDefender and Avi.
Yeah,
and also let me correct you. It's vDefend.
Oh, I've been trying to correct him for years.
I've been corrected different times. vDefend.
Yeah, so it's vDefend security, lateral security for VCF private cloud, and Avi load balancer is the load balancer which I mentioned through the acquisition. The kind of reason we're talking about the two things together is both are sold, from ANS. So I come from the application networking and security division within Broadcom, and before the acquisition, I think a lot of your audience is familiar with NSX, right, which is the network virtualization technology. So both of our products actually came from or part of the NSX portfolio before. Now, NSX now is part of the VCF. And the load balancing and advanced security offerings become the advanced services that can be offered on top of VCF. So I just want to explain kind of the connection. And one of the common things between the two portfolio is these are critical networking and application services that you need to have, right? Once you have a basic infrastructure for private cloud deployed, and you need to be able to secure, to implement policies. How can you make your applications available? So that's essentially what vDefend and Avi respectively bring to the table. Also, both products, or both are software defined. So that's a very common between the two products. We have very similar, principles that we develop the products out of. So the user experience, the self-service, elasticity, automation capabilities are very common attributes or common benefits that we're able to bring to our audience. And I think some of you, Defend is a new brand. Avi is actually an old brand that we brought back to the product. So in the marketplace, like people know Avi in the application space, because before the acquisition we have carry the name of Avi. So we're bringing that name back to the portfolio. For vDefend, it's relatively new, but I think you might have heard about NSX security, right? And then that definitely evolves from the old days with NSX. Eric, I'm not sure if I addressed your question.
Yeah, it did. I was just thinking through that and also listening. I guess what we might want to talk about next is like, okay, got it, vDefend, and I'll just do an aside with, you know what my favorite game, video game was when I came out of college? Defender, right?
Defender,
so that's why
yeah.
I call it Defender instead of Defend. But you know, sorry about that.
Defense is hard, you know, like defense always has to be on its game. And, you know, attacker, there's an old saying in InfoSec that, you know, attackers only need to get lucky once, you know, and so tools like this and microsegmentation, the ability to granularly protect workloads, really an important tool in defense of an organization. And that.
Yeah, but if you think about it, like, let me give you an analogy, like your house, right? Usually people think, how can I protect my house, my assets, my applications, right? Is to build a fence. And that's usually in traditional terms, perimeter firewall, in data centers. But nowadays it's like, is that enough? Well, in a house, you have a front door, you have a back door, you have windows, that attackers can get it, right? And once inside the perimeter, does it mean like it's safe? No, you apply zero trust principles that you have to validate at every step before you are allowed to access data and applications. So that's exactly what vDefend provides, because vDefend is embedded with NSX, provides east-west traffic microsegmentation to make sure like we are providing the lateral security and allow you to detect when your attacker is trying to enter your house from the windows, maybe, right? That is not something where the defense is important and great, but it doesn't protect everything. And that's one of the key concepts of vDefend try to bring to, you know, our audience is, hey, what happens once you pass your initial gate of protection, right? And majority doesn't mean that you just let go wherever once they enter. Obviously not, right? So we need to have that kind of multi-layer defense in place so that your applications and data is secure. So that's in a nutshell what vDefend is trying to achieve through distributed firewall and ATP, advanced threat prevention through IDS, IPS, and NDR capabilities, right? So you have a lot of tools in your toolbox, but you want to apply it especially to these traffic that's in your data centers.
Yeah, that's really important. When I talk about security, I often use the analogy of a castle. You know, you've got all these hard exterior boundaries and that, but once you're inside the castle, often there's really nothing to prevent people from moving around, and that's really where you come in. You know, and to add the boundaries. And do so in a flexible way. You know, you don't have to, there's a lot of firewall rules that have been created as like what ifs, you know, what if we need this in the future, that sort of thing. You know, and you don't have to have that because it's super easy to adjust things on the fly as you go when you discover something with the microsegmentation. So very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then what we also find is oftentimes our customers think they're secure, but how do you know, you don't know what's coming if you can't see them or you cannot assess the environment. So vDefend provides something called a segmentation security or assessment score. I think that's what it's called. Fairly easy. You can install in under 90 minutes for large deployments. And then, you know, you let it run. And after a week, you take a look at the report. It will tell you how good your segmentation really is in your environment. What are the blast radius and potential vulnerabilities that you're subject to? And once you detect or discover, hey, wow, I have potential gaps that I need to fill, then you go into your security and making sure whether it's networking level or policy level is done to a compliant and in a secure way, right? So I do think before you say, you first have to know whether you're secure or not. So that assessment is critical.
Yeah, Bob, I guess this might go to both of you, but maybe you want to take a stab at it. Like, I feel like, firewall was kind of like networking, in its own security world, right? In the enterprise, right? You had security experts that dealt with the firewall rules, and even when I was trying to open up rules for StreamYard, which we use for the podcast, I get handed off to a different IT team, right? Now,
Yeah.
as SCDC starts taking over and VCF starts taking over, and you consolidate onto bigger and larger individual software platforms from VMware, does it just make sense to then use vDefend to do the kind of traditional firewall load, because it's all in software from the same company? And the question for you, and Bob, maybe you know this, is there pushback from the org, like in the old days when we tried to get you to use NSX? The network administrators like, no, we're not using that. Like, how much of this is an adoption, human resource type of problem as well? So that's what I'm thinking here. It's like, vDefend, it seems straightforward. This is an adoption strategy, and is there, hurdles for adoption when it comes to vDefend?
Lay, do you want to take a stab at this?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah. Well, no. Yeah, totally. I think that this applies to both vDefend and Avi, and in general, infrastructure products, right? You have different teams, but you want them to work together. The old model was through ticketing, right? You file a ticket, and maybe you wait for weeks, then some kind of maybe either networking and security can work on it and get back to you, right? And I think that is really the game we want to change here. So we want to provide, first is one interface for either infrastructure team, network team, security team, or developers to be able to see what's going on, and to create self-service consumption of the resources. Whether it's security services or load balancing services, at the end of the day, you want to consume them, right? So I think that's what is, without getting into too much detail about the integrations with VCF, that's what Avi and vDefend try to achieve through the plug and play integrations that we have with the VCF platform, to give you that, I wouldn't say seamless, but at least capability for you to self-service majority of the requests. Yes, there will be things that has to be taken a look at from SMEs. But hey, if you're just interested in how an application is performing, logging, look at the dashboard, maybe send a few queries, right, through the VCF dashboard, that you can see everything like all together. That's probably satisfy like 50% of the need. And then you kind of triage the problem further, so that it does allow you. That's the beauty of the cloud, right? You're able to log in, catalog, and then you order your service, and it can be done instantly in automated fashion, self-service. So that's a lot of the recent so-called enhancements, like where we are doing with VCF through Avi load balancer, for example, it's with VCF automation, VCF operations. So that's self-service, and then kind of have a lot of APIs, 100% APIs provided to automate, as well as build that into your workflows from the beginning of a cycle instead of an afterthought. So consuming load balancing as code, consuming security service as code is what we strive to achieve.
Right. Okay, that makes sense, and that leads me to my the next piece of the interview here, which is, in order to enhance the self-serve, right? Everybody has to learn how to do this. The idea of adding vDefend and Avi into the VMUG Advantage package, where if you pass your VCP certification and you're going to set up your home labs, you're going to get VCF. You're going to spend quite a bit of time, setting up your home lab with network NSX and vSAN and ESX all layered together. Then why not also allow the administrators, IT professionals, to actually set up vDefend and start to use it, so that you can get used to that self-service network security portion, which then is why we'd want to bundle that in, right? To just give people an opportunity to play with this, start to learn it, and then turn that into kind of adopt that self-service model of managing your security as one big software package from VMware, right?
Yeah, totally. So I think we've probably announced the inclusion of the ANS personal use licenses a few weeks ago. And the intent is that like you have some basic knowledge about VCF. You can get the certification with the and be able to download the bits, right? The idea is for you to be able to play around with the licenses. So I think for vDefend, it includes DFW and ATP in a bundle SKU, and for Avi, it includes all the capabilities of Avi and SKU. So, and we provide very generous number of cores so that enough for you to play around, to get your hands dirty, to implement some basic use cases, right? For Avi, it would include, obviously application, both local and global load balancing, depending on how big your clusters are. And then we can also, take a look at the application security features that comes from the WAF capabilities that we support, and then allow you to do some fun stuff just with the bits that you download. And then after that, there is a path to get further, kind of a VCP certification for Avi and vDefend as well, right? So I think it's a great way. If I'm as a practitioner, I would love to get my hands on it. And
so
yeah,
I did
totally.
I did some testing. I did some testing to enable deployment of the vDefend and Avi bits onto the VCP Edge certification portal, where you go download the VCF bits. If you passed your VCP certification, I have a blog out there on the steps to go get your bits, and a lot of people have done that already. But one of the challenges we've had with the platform is it would only show you one product. So when we went and enabled vDefend and Avi, it would show you just one product, and you wouldn't even see the VCF bits. You would only see the license key for one of the last one we put in the system. So this weekend we are deploying what I did user testing this week. It's ready to go. We filed the tickets for deployment, and what you'll get is a nice panel of all of the software downloads that you're qualified to see, not just the last one. And so in some cases, if you've taken the VF cert, you're qualified for ESX Enterprise Edition, 32 cores. If you've taken your VCP cert, you're qualified for VCF. If you took let's see, if you don't have an Advantage membership, you're qualified for other bits, but not the full the VCF stack. And so there's a bunch of combinations, and now Avi and vDefend will be part of that. And we tested it, and I got a screenshot with I think 7 or 8 different products now in your view that you can get your license keys for. So that we user acceptance test, UAT.
Yep.
This week, that's positive. We gave a thumbs up. It looks like it's all working, and this will be, with all fingers crossed on the deployment, will go out this weekend. And so if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably only a day or two away, or by the time you listen to it, it might already be the weekend, and it will hopefully be deployed. So today's June 11th, so 12th, 13th, probably like on the 14th is the day for deployment of all this. And then to your point, Lei, you don't have to pass a certification on the NS products. You can just pass your VCP for VCF cert, but over time you're introducing a VCP dash, I don't know if we're calling ANS. I don't know what the cert name is going to be called, but I believe you guys are working on it. That's what you mentioned, right? The roadmap.
We have to. Once VCP dash vDefend.
And the lag is such, I have no idea whether you're still here, whether Bob is still here.
I'm still here.
We're still here. Did you guys hear me talk about their R?
No audio either.
It's getting a little wild.
So odd.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that something seems to be afoot. I'm actually sitting here. I tried to log in, and yeah, I guess you and I could probably go back.
I'm not getting your audio though. I don't know
yeah?
if I've got audio issues.
Hello, can you hear me?
I've lost audio from Bob.
Weird.
And that might be I'm missing audio from
I'm getting some weird
Lay as well. Is Lay actually on the talking and I'm just not hearing her?
Yeah, no, I'm not talking much.
All right, it must be mine.
No. Yeah, I can hear you, Lay.
Podcast day today.
I can hear you, Lay.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
I'll leave and come back in. Hang on.
Okay, my needles are bouncing. I'll let you guys talk.
Hey, Eric, can you hear me? Hey, Eric, can you hear me? Well, sorry, folks, if you can hear me.
Bob, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
You're garbled, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Record.
Yeah, I'm getting a weird robotic echo. That might have...
Bob, you're sure we're actually live?
Oh yeah, we're live. This is part of the peril of doing this. Is
I know, but that's fine. That's fine. That's
perfectly.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
That's why audience like to watch live demos. You know, they want to see things break. They want to see. Yeah, really.
I hate demos for exactly those reasons. You know, like because for me, I'm trying to get to a point usually, and yeah, and I understand. You know, it's fine. You get to see that everything that I'm human and all that stuff. But somebody once told me a long time ago, I think one of the Tech Field Day guys back a long time ago said, "Do a demo, lose a sale," and that sort of resonated with me. The idea that so much can go wrong that I just end up doing screenshots and things and just pointing stuff out. But I know a lot of people like the live demos.
Yeah, because our audience really wants to see how do you recover from an error? How do you troubleshoot your own problem, right? If you
Yep, and that's a really important thing too. You know,
you can trouble.
I guess it depends on your goals with whatever you're presenting. But in this case, live streams
True, I understand.
tend to be a little wild. So, but yeah, and I think Eric will probably join us again in a second. He was I don't know, bandwidth is what it is, but no, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. You guys are getting something free based on if you have VMUG membership, but you get something free, which is great. Test it out and let us know.
Something is part of it, and people get to learn about your products. I did have a question. We mentioned AI at some point. You know, like an AI has been some point in the past of this conversation here, and AI has been something that the InfoSec community has been really interested in, you know, like in a wide range from like, oh my God, we're all going to die. AI is going to kill us all to like, we're going to end up in a William Gibson novel and it's all going to be like that. And are you guys doing anything with AI as far as the products?
Yeah, we do.
That you can talk about?
Yes. So we do have some Gen AI, and it actually is true, Bob. I know you're smiling because most people think you're just like so into the future, but we did act a little bit faster or earlier with this Gen AI and AI stuff. There are something with private AI that I can't yet talk about, which we'll announce at Explorer timeframe. But yes, definitely Gen AI is one area that we have seen that would help to really, you know, these kind of large language models to help to get to a point, help the interface with the operators and then query-based assistance. Yes, that is something that we actually, for vDefend, is already in the product. Avi is coming.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. The idea that I could ask my firewall, like, hey, well, I'm thinking back. I was a customer for many years before I joined VMware, and the question of who's using this thing sometimes came up. Like the ability to ask a piece of security technology a question like, who's using this thing? Where are connections coming from? Who can get to this thing? Is that something that that I can do now with the vDefend capabilities?
Yeah, it's basically all the kind of the security teams, networking teams, load balancing teams, that the folks that need to day-to-day solve the problems, troubleshoot, triage, deploy policies, migrate policies. Yeah, these are the folks on like kind of the troop on the ground are the ones who are going to benefit significantly from these Gen AI capabilities. And then which also hopefully will help them with better capacity planning, for example. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You ask a question and get the usage right away, utilization, instead of try to guess. So I think one of the things that Gen AI can be quickly deployed or leveraged in our product, I actually think it's because the very fact it is soft defined. Imagine that you want to do it with pure hardware that you don't even have access to through APIs. How can you enable AI quickly, right? So to me, this is all a journey. And I used to talk to my team about like, you know what? The generation, the journey from hardware, software, and now to AI appears to me as the journey from yellow cab to Uber to taxi.
Yeah.
You're delivering the same service, but then you're really benefiting from the technologies to gain the productivity, to get the service, and autonomous, like completely like AI driven type technology. So I think you will find use cases, you will find benefits that you always wanted, and then now is just enabled by a new set of technologies. And what it makes me is, like, if you take a platform holistic approach, that will actually allow you to go a long way.
Yeah. Well, and you're absolutely right. The something I like pointing out, and you've been talking about it here, is the idea that all of this stuff is overhead. It's not, this is a lot of these questions that you've been outlining, a lot of this work that happens doesn't move an organization forward. And it's necessary in order to do that. But, a lot of it, if we can reduce the amount of time that people spend on it and get to the answers quicker, that's awesome, and these AI tools, both being able to use them as part of our day-to-day jobs as IT practitioners, but also then be able to protect the models too, that people are using for other stuff, both aspects of those. So very cool. Thank you for your answers there. Those are, I'm glad to see that we're on that track.
Yep, totally. I think all of our audience. Eric, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I just had to drop out and come back into my browser, and everything turned back on. So I don't know if you guys were hearing me or you guys were hearing fine, but mine, I got muted and I couldn't hear anything. So
yeah,
back.
You dropped and we just continued talking. No big deal.
Yeah, excited to have this as part of the bundle, right? And I know that testing it this week, I saw all the panels with all the different options of software you can get from Advantage now, and that's fun because it's coming back to the vExpert days where you get licenses for everything, and we've kind of got back to the point where looking at full VCF, 128 cores. Now you got ANS with another 128 cores plus. I think Avi has whatever they call them. They don't call them cores on the Avi pieces, but Lei, you mentioned all that.
Yeah, we call it service unit. We call it service unit. You will get 12 of them. It sounds small, but it's actually 12 service units. It's a very general number. You're able to do quite a lot of use cases with that. Yeah.
So
nice.
And then throw in the fact that we're testing the under $900 for for a Nook or a small, I can't call them, not allowed to call them Nooks because that's trademarked by somebody these days. But it is mini PC form factor of a Nook, small little guy, and you can get 128 gig of memory and 24 cores all in a tiny little box. So that should be able to run quite a bit. And then this gives you something to play with at home, right, the whole time, and get certified at the same time, right? And so I'm kind of excited about the whole thing.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think something's afoot with your mentioning of rolling out all of this stuff. I think something's afoot. I was actually attempting to log in to see my VCP licenses, and I'm not able to log in right now. So, and it's redirecting me to a staging site. So, I think something is transitioning as we speak. So.
Yeah, and you might look because if you pass your cert and you got one of the original email addresses, the link in the email says the right link, but when you click on the link, it goes to
maybe that's my problem. So
yeah,
I'll have to get the right link from you.
Yeah, you'll probably want to go. It's actually in the letter, but you shouldn't have STG in that.
Yeah,
and
or maybe I'm just special and in a way that I don't really like sometimes.
Probably you want to get rid of the STG stage link in that URL, and you'll be able to log in. But there are a lot of funky things going on this week because we are getting ready to deploy. And there were some known bugs that this should fix. So we have a couple of Advantage members that are, filing tickets saying I can't get out. I only get one license. I don't get other ones. And it seems to be there was whatever last test you got was the license it might not give you and might give you the old one. And so this will clean this all up where anything you're qualified for now, you'll get to see on that page, which is including now vDefend.
Yep. Well, and we're, as we've said a number of times, we're a different animal inside of Broadcom than a lot of what Broadcom has done before. So it's nice that our IT folks are able to extend their systems to help deal with these situations. So
yeah, I would say that they're a good company. If you get the blessing from upper management to make it happen, then they will grind away at it and make it happen.
The question of do we really want to do this is a powerful one, and in the past, but Broadcom is very focused like that. So
yeah, I think that is true. I think that VMware, I equate to a big university versus a small university. Yeah. When you're at a big university, they do everything. They don't do everything really that well, right? But you can go do everything on a big campus. A focus campus, a private university, they don't have
do really well.
They really do it well, and that's the way I look at Broadcom. They're not as broad as what VMware was, but what they do, they really try to do as best as they can. Right. Yeah.
Cool. So, well, I'm excited about the vDefend stuff and the threat protection and all that stuff.
And we will be doing marketing next week, so you should see it out on social. VMUG super excited about it because this adds another checkbox to what Advantage gets you, right? So they're excited about that. As we come up to the last 5 minutes of the show here, maybe 6 minutes. Last question is anything that gets you excited for the rest of 2025. I know you can't talk about non-disclosed things, but in the industry in general, what gets you excited?
We're still doing that. There are many things in life that is exciting. That's coming. Yeah. So I think upcoming, I will say, folks, although I cannot go into my integration, but I will be a game changer for both. I've announced and the details for VCF 5.2. So think about that, the capabilities that we are trying to achieve with VCF 5.2. We'll actually get more, definitely continued and even better experience, even more simplified, streamlined for the end users. So really something that we'll look forward to, and we'll get into more details that explore all the sessions. We'll definitely talk about it more details.
Yeah, and
So that
Bob, that's
I'm kind of really excited about it, and I'm excited about the not some unexpected use cases that you guys will do with the Gen AI capability that I mentioned, and then will further feed into our product. Yeah, I think that's going to be exponential because it's just now it will become a closed loop, like a true closed loop. Like we're able to get a lot of the product feedback and improvements like on a faster pace, and then leveraging the technology that we have. So that's also very exciting to me. Yeah.
That has me excited as well, right? Like I think that this Explore system with the new version of VCF coming out and all the integrations and all the streamline of the user interfaces, but yet new features, right? We've got AI all over the place, right? And there's a lot to learn about what AI is going to be doing for you to manage your data center, and the defend and firewall stuff that's just one example, but there's a bunch, right? So you got that, you've got GPU management, right? AI GPU management. You've got licensing with Avi, right? You got ARIA license management, not Avi, ARIA license management that's coming down through. You got new user interface consolidations. I would think that this is going to be. It might not be, obviously we don't have EUC anymore, Fusion and Workstation still out there, but like there's momentum declines in those. But if you're an enterprise and you're running a big data center, I feel like this is going to be just an interesting year to learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this is a very compelling time here. Some really compelling stuff going on.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Lee, last thing.
Yeah.
Barbecue, the barbecue.
Very important question.
Big question. Do you ever, you're obviously in the Palo Alto region, so the Bay Area. Do you ever get to do any barbecue, or what's your favorite barbecue, or what's your favorite barbecue spot?
I love barbecue because once I get done with the prep work, I'm not the grill master. I can hand it off to my husband and I just chill, right? The glass and wait there, see the smoke. So I really like very simple steak, ribeye, just simple, easy.
Yep.
Put it on the grill to just get the best meat that you can possibly get and afford in your region, and then it will be just all good.
Yeah, and salt and pepper, and just let the meat speak for itself. I'm with you. Excellent.
Yeah. Yep.
I bought a rack of baby backs, and they're in the fridge now. And I'm gonna dry rub them tonight and let them sit overnight and marinate with the rub. And then I'm gonna put them in Traeger and let them go. Put a little jerk sauce on them, barbecue Mr. Stubbs barbecue rub, and salt and pepper, and stab them up a little bit and tenderize them, and then smoke them for 6 hours. I think a 4-2-2, something like that.
3-2-1, I think, is the
3-2-1.
ribs still elude me a bit. I need to practice more my rib technique, but yeah, I think it's 3-2-1.
I got the ribs amazingly down, right? I just got the ribs down, right? With a little jerk sauce, a little rub, a little apple cider in the smoker while you're doing that. Wrap it with apple. Yeah, I got ribs down. I can't get brisket. I can't
See, I'm doing better on the brisket front, but yeah, I've got 2 pork butts ready to go for Friday. Basically, I'll put them in Thursday night and just let them ride, and so that'll be great. Pull them out when they look like a meteorite. So
Tony Foster, I don't know if Tony's still around or not.
Tony, I'm still here.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. Hey, Tony.
Yeah. What do you got?
Hey,
barbecue.
Bob. So this last week, pork chops about an inch thick, cut from the butcher, and ravioli.
Ooh, nice.
Little
Smoked ravioli.
Pork chops and
barbecued
chops ravioli,
just on the grill, right? Just did them up on the grill. Yeah.
Yeah, the ravioli. Go to the store and get you a pack of those pre-made raviolis, or if you're really good at making ravioli, make your own ravioli. And throw them on the grill. Nice. And let them brown just a touch. They'll slightly puff up on you, and take them off. It takes about 5 minutes to do them, and they're a really nice crispy treat.
You
Nice.
know, at that land of crispiness, I eat lamb. I saw some lamb chops. You know, and you get the
Ooh.
lamb chops and crisp
Mhm.
those guys up same way. You know, pretty darn good with some herbs and spices. I might have to give that a try. Same thing. Lay, thanks a lot for being on the show. How would
really
anybody
appreciate it.
follow you on Twitter, or do you have a blog, or is there a social media footprint if you want to learn more about what's going on with you guys? What's your Twitter handle?
Yeah,
Lay?
definitely. Just Google either Avilo Bouncer or vDefend. You will see YouTube channels, blogs, LinkedIn, and Twitter. These are the 4 places that you can definitely find more. And for folks who are interested to download the bids, we do have some workshops that helps you to get up to speed, right? So we understand, like, you get the bids, now what, right? You don't want to search through so many resources. Attend one of our one is only 90 minutes. If you don't already know the architecture, just skip it. A 60-minute lab. And by the end, people can do basic, like create service, like virtual services and whatnot. So it's pretty amazing. Like if you have zero knowledge about Avi product or vDefend, in 90 minutes, you get to do something basic. And then that can get you started in the whole lab that you have.
That's super cool. Yeah, and Julia has mentioned there's a community forum, a vDefend community forum as well, where people can interact.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, I forgot. There is a community page for both Avi and vDefend, actually. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for being on, and thanks for all the information.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Very much. We're excited to have it part of Advantage deploying this weekend, and so stay tuned, and we'll go get some barbecue because it's lunchtime and I'm hungry. Bob, thanks a lot. Lay, thanks a lot. Julia Klaus, thanks for being behind the scenes and dealing with all the audio issues. And if you manage to listen to the end of this show, you rule. You can take punishment. Let me tell you. Thanks a lot, guys. See you again.
Take care. See you next week.